Here's the debate now in Washington. Did the Democrat Party do maximum damage to itself? Should Nancy Pelosi have listened to her own warning last spring when she said no to a hyper-partisan impeachment? With me now is Heritage Foundation's Kelsey Bolar. Pelosi embraced a fast-track, flawed impeachment push. I mean, what is your reaction to what's happening now? They didn't get anything.
Nancy Pelosi should have listened to her instincts early on when she resisted impeachment throughout the Russia collusion investigation, which, of course, came up with nothing. Now what we're looking at is the most anticlimactic ending to impeachment that President Trump could have ever asked for. You had the Super Bowl last night. You have the Iowa caucus tonight. And then tomorrow, the president has the State of the Union address where he has the opportunity to set out the policy platforms that he wants to move forward.
Right. So, wasted on investigations and impeachment that yielded nothing but a lot of overheated, over-the-top Democrat rhetoric. Watch this.
It's been going on for 22 months, okay? 2.5 years, actually.
He will not be acquitted. You cannot be acquitted if you don't have a trial. And you don't have a trial if you don't have witnesses and documentation and that.
And now, State of the Union fireworks, Kelsey. For the first time, President's going to meet with, or see, rather, Nancy Pelosi at State of the Union. They haven't spoken since October when the president called Pelosi a, quote, third-grade politician. You wonder if that's when Pelosi really kicked impeachment into high gear.
I hope President Trump takes the high road tomorrow night. He has the opportunity to set his agenda, prove to the American public that he is looking out for their interests, trying to further policies that are going to help them versus what we're seeing play out on the Democrat side, which is them prioritizing impeachments and investigations. So he has a real opportunity tomorrow night.
It's a good point. House Democrats, Kelsey, they're gearing up to stage protests against the president. They're also talking about Democrats may boycott the State of the Union. The president is expected to try to project optimism, talk of the blue-collar boom, creating jobs, the China trade deal, NAFTA 2.0. The president's supporters keep saying, they keep bringing up, they're feeling that the president delivers on his promises in a way other elected officials have not. We have this is also happening, too. The president, in an interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity, he's predicting the fall of Nancy Pelosi. Watch this.
I think she's a very confused, very nervous woman. I don't think she wanted to do this. I think she really knew what was going to happen, and it's her worst nightmares happened. I don't think she's going to be there too long either. I think that the radical left, and she's sort of radical left too, by the way, but I think the radical left is going to take over.
What do you think? Do you think the radical left, do you agree, is going to take over? Do you agree with the president on that?
Liz, I think the radical left has already taken over the party. Look, the policies that they are now putting forth on the agenda are complete government takeovers of entire industries, healthcare, parts of the economy. They want to add regulation that would really hold the workforce back. And so, yes, Nancy Pelosi is beholden to the AOC, Bernie Sanders socialists in the party, and that's forcing a debate in this country over socialism and capitalism, which is really astonishing that we'd ever be back here.
You look at other countries like Venezuela, how quickly it can turn from a capitalist economy within a generation to government control and collapse. To your point, it's a good one, Kelsey. Senator Lindsey Graham says that the impeachment push happened because the Democrat Party leaders like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are really panicked about losing their jobs to the hard left. Watch this.
American people, and you want to deter future impeachments like this, make sure President Trump gets reelected, and let's fire Nancy Pelosi. Tlaib and these people took over the Democratic Party, and Chuck Schumer is having AOC breathing down his neck in terms of a Democratic primary. Chuck Schumer is scared to death to lose his job to AOC, and that's why this debacle continued in the Senate.
Your final word, Kelsey?
A lot of Democrats are feeling politically homeless, but it is very important for conservatives. Instead of just sitting back and grabbing the popcorn, we have to be engaged in this conversation between socialism and capitalism.
Kelsey, great to see you. Come back soon.